FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Oh, I'm excited. I get to meet IUP coaches this week. We had Paul Tortorella on the air yesterday. He's been here a lot. But this is our first chance to meet Lo Hoyer, who is the head coach of the IUP volleyball team. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're able to come be with us today. Our conversation is brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted best personal injury law firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. So you went to UConn.
I did.
Which is a big-time college campus now.
It is. It is.
Yeah. And now you find yourself here in Indiana, PA. That's quite the journey to get here, isn't it?
It is. I think since I graduated college, I have lived in this is my sixth state, done all 4 time zones, met a lot of really cool people, lived in a lot of really cool places, but excited to be here in Indiana, PA.
Yeah. Coaching volleyball, once you get out of college and you start coaching, do you work yourself up through the ranks, graduate assistant, and just like they do in other sports?
A little bit I did. I actually didn't get into coaching till my mid-20s. My undergrad is in human development and family studies, and I went and I got a job in nonprofit and thought I was going to change the world. And then I realized that wearing sneakers and leggings every day was way more fun than chasing kids around schools and doing some of the other stuff I did. So I got into coaching as a grad assistant in my mid-20s, about 26. Did that for 2 years. I then spent a couple years doing club youth volleyball, kind of on both sides, and then assistant coach, recruiting coordinator, and this is my first time as a head coach.
First time getting a college job, was it a case of, oh, I remember her. Yeah, let's put her on the job.
It was a little different in a sense of I had moved to North Carolina, and I was actually looking to supplement my income while I took a different job still in nonprofits. And so I started working youth, and the AD at the university I ended up working for, her daughter was in the club. She was like, hey, I hear you want to get into coaching. And I was like, yeah. She's like, do you want to come be our GA? And I was like, sure. Like, I'd always planned on getting my master's. That sounds like a great plan. If you don't know me, I'm a 6'2" ginger, and I got my master's from Historically Black College and University in North Carolina.
Fit right in.
Yeah, totally. But it was a really cool experience. I was grateful for everything I learned in multiple different ways. And then my husband is also a coach. He's my assistant coach here. But when we met, he was a recruiting coordinator at North Carolina State. And I decided that I wanted to stay in the area. I wasn't ready to go, kind of leave that experience yet. So I did club for a little bit and then spent a couple years following him around, and now he gets to follow me around.
IUP job. Tell me about getting that.
Oh, it's actually a really funny story. A friend had called me when it first opened, and they were like, hey, are you interested? And I was like, no. I was like, how do you convince 17-year-olds to go to a place called Indiana, Pennsylvania? Like, that's confusing. I'm like, I'm good. And then a couple weeks later, I just get this text message. No idea who this person is. They're just like, hey, we have an opening at IUP. Your name's come across our desk. Are you interested? I was like, I'll have a conversation. Still no idea who I'm having a conversation with. This person never tells me who they are. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. They're supposed to call me. They don't. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Well, I get a call like an hour later. I'm like, all right, I'm not picking it up. You didn't call me when you say you were going to call me. Well, then I listen to the voicemail, and it's Todd Garzarelli. And I get on the phone with him, and he's like, I was on the other side of campus. Sorry. And I was like, yeah, okay. But then I had a really great conversation with him. And as I talked with him, I was like, this is somebody I think I want to work for. And I went through the hiring process. And again, like I looked at my committee, and I was like, who is Mike Carnevale? Like, he's not on the athletic website. Why is he on the committee? It's like, this is weird. And then I did the interview, and I was like, I think I really like these people.
Oh, yeah.
And that was something that was really important to me when I decided when I wanted to be a head coach, where I wanted to be a head coach, is I wanted to be surrounded by really good people. And when Todd called to offer me the job, I was actually supposed to go on another interview the next day. And he offered, and I was like, I'm actually supposed to go on another interview. And I could kind of hear in his voice, like, oh no, please don't do that. So I talked to a bunch of friends and actually ended up not going on that interview, accepting this job, packing up my life. At the time, we were living in Washington State on the border of Washington and Idaho. Convinced my retired sister-in-laws and brother-in-law to come help us move across country, and we were here in about 2 weeks.
Wow. Wow, what a journey that must have been. So you come here, you land in Indiana, PA, and you're in the PSAC and coaching volleyball. What's PSAC volleyball like at the Division II level? Does it have a great reputation in D2?
It does. And that was one of the things that also interested me. I knew that the things, in addition to working for really good people, I wanted to be at a place where winning mattered, where you had the resources to win, and the place that people really respected. And a lot of people in Division II really respect PSAC volleyball. We've had a ton of teams. It's kind of been between a couple teams in the top of the PSAC and one or two teams in the top of the MAC taking the region every year. And so when I was able to kind of dig deeper into the PSAC, I was like, this is a really great opportunity to learn how to be a head coach, to hopefully do it well, and to be in a conference that's respected, and you have an opportunity to, compete in an Elite 8, a Final Four every year if you do it right.
Yeah, IUP's been up and down in volleyball. The Natalie Signetti years, everybody points to those years,
Yep.
and then they were so wonderful. And it, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Girls go on, they graduate, and you have to be in constant recruitment mode. Talking to Coach Tort yesterday about transfers and the transfer portal, the basketball coaches as well. Is that as big a deal for volleyball as it is for here? Because you can build a program quickly, can't you?
Yeah, so that's actually one of the things that has added to our success. We this fall had 7 transfers on our roster of 21. 3 of which had transferred to us from the D1 level. 2 were here before I got here. 1 I brought in. We got a all-region transfer that came in last year from the MEC. We've got some great experience. We got a mid-year transfer actually over the break for this spring. There are people that are really big on the transfer portal. There are people that are really anti the transfer portal. I always say the transfer portal giveth and it taketh away, and it's going to give you some great opportunities to bring some people in, and it also gives kids an opportunity to go find something that might be a better fit for them, and that's not always a bad thing.
Yeah, like it or not, it's there.
Yep,
So.
it's the reality.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to look at it. So tell me about volleyball at IUP and coaching this group of ladies, because you've had some success since you got
We
here.
have. I will always say I have the greatest group of kids on campus, and obviously I'm biased. They're mine. But I work with a phenomenal group of young women that are focused on excelling on the court, in the classroom, being really good role models for the community. My first season, we hit the 20-win mark. We made it to the NCAA tournament. We did not handle the NCAA tournament well. It was a pretty short trip for us. But we learned from it. And this year we were, lucky enough to get above those 20 wins, get to 23. We played some really tough competition, put ourselves in a good spot for our postseason resume, and made it to the regional finals. So I can't really complain with the success we found on the court in the last 2 years. But I think the culture and the way that my kids treat each other and the way that they treat other people is as important to me in our program as those wins are.
You're D2. Of course, Pitt had such an incredible run in D1. High school volleyball has become really big here in Western PA. We've had some district champions here in recent years. Is it a rich pool?
It's getting there. I think it's funny, and I say this all the time, like Texas and the Midwest, it's, every street corner you're finding a 6+ foot volleyball player that's been playing since they were 12.
Yeah.
And PA's getting there. We have so many schools between Pitt, between Penn State. You've got the Temples and the Lehighs and the Bucknells on the east side. You've got all the PSAC schools, Juniata winning the D3 national championship. We've got great college volleyball. And I think our youth volleyball is starting to get there in a way that we're getting more talent, and we're getting kids that are playing younger and they're learning the game and having more access to it, which is the most important thing.
One of the great things about IUP is if the fans latch onto your team, they're there for good. Are you starting to get that too?
We are. We do a lot of work for it. We don't sell tickets yet, so a lot of our marketing is done by our kids. It's done by me. They're going around campus when school starts, giving away T-shirts, giving away our schedules. We partnered with some organizations on campus to increase attendance, and this year was better than my first year, and we're going to keep just pushing. It is the most popular sport for girls in America right now. It's surpassed everything else other than track and field being a non-team sport. But it's 20% higher participation than any other sport in the country, and Pennsylvania's starting to get there a little bit. Winning helps. Having our kids out in the community, people seeing what they're doing helps. And then I think, for us just continuing to put the work in and represent our university well, we'll hopefully see those numbers keep going.
She's Lo Hoyer. She's the coach of the IUP Crimson Hawks volleyball team. Season gets started when?
August.
Yep.
So we'll be on the road the first weekend of competition, which is September 5th and 6th. And then we've got about 2 weeks of home games. We'll host 2 tournaments. We'll host 2 one-offs. And then we start conference play mid-September.
Yeah. Now, the ladies are on campus right now in class, but tell me about Summer League, because I'm sure they scramble all over the nation or international even, and then they got to get back together and come together as a team pretty quickly.
Yeah, so we train throughout the spring. We have our own training blocks. We're in our 8 hours right now. After spring break, we'll go into 15 hours. We'll get some opportunities to scrimmage. Football has that one day that they compete. Sure. We get 4 dates. And so we'll go to Mercyhurst. We'll host 2 here. We'll go to St. Francis. And they're just scrimmages, but they're an opportunity to play somebody other than us.
Yeah.
Then come summer, our kids really have the flexibility being at the D2 level to go do what they want, where they want, what they need to be. We have kids from our farthest in the United States is from Arizona. Mm-hmm. We have Samai from Turkey. We have kids from the Midwest, the South, all over. And so for summer, they go home. They understand how important it is for them to do their summer workouts, how important it is for them to play as much as they can, because we do get such a short period of time. And then they do a really good job of creating those relationships and that culture. From an NCAA standpoint, we can't mandate they do anything in the summer.
Yeah.
It's all suggested. So everything that they do, they have accountability partners where they check in with each other every day. Like, did you get your workout in? Have you played? How's your summer? They do Zooms without the coaches to get to know all the incoming freshmen and our newbies. And so they put a lot of time in the summer so that once we get back, we can just hit the ground and go. And this year is even a little bit different. We only get about 1 week of training before school starts. Typically, we get about 2, but how the calendar works, we're only going to get 1 week without having to worry about classes, without having to worry about that. So it'll be even more important this year that everybody comes back ready.
Then you're at it.
Yeah, then we're at it, and it's just fast and furious.
It's a lot of fun, though.
It is.
Lo Hoyer, so good to meet you. I hope you're here a long time.
Me too. We're enjoying it. We love it, and go Hawks.
IUP Women's Volleyball. It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Kilmeade Show coming up next.